Now, a bit of attention given this week to something that Tony Abbott said to Sky News back in 2009, where he said that, OK, if you're going to have a price on carbon, you might as well have a tax. Let's listen to that in a little more detail.
If you want to put a price on carbon, why not just do it with a simple tax? Why not ask motorists to pay more? Why not ask electricity consumers to pay more? And then at the end of the year you can take your invoices to the tax office and get a rebate of the carbon tax you've paid.
Now, David, he says no, but I was asked if there was a carbon price, and that would be the way to go about it. And, by the way, it came before Copenhagen failed.
That's right. I mean, it's very clearly it starts with an if. And another explanation he's given for saying that is that everything was different then. Well, no, Tony, the only thing that was different was the policy of his party. And I think this is incredibly illuminating, because we've got to keep remembering that what we're dealing with Abbott here is a government-busting exercise. He's not actually on about dealing with the climate problems of the globe. He's on about demolishing Gillard. And we need to keep an eye on the fact that this is strategy on his part. He'll chop and change, his rhetoric will shift, he'll do whatever is required, because the point here is getting him into government. Now, that's a traditional ambition of leaders of the opposition, but it leads him to saying things you heard it, we had it up on the screen a few minutes ago, that what's proposed is going to be the death of the coal industry. The coal industry is a mighty industry in this country, and what's proposed is going to put about $1 on the cost of a tonne of coal. The death of the... His language is extreme, the strategy shifts, the rhetoric is completely flexible, because what matters here is the politics.
You talk about what's changed. Let's go back to that interview now and look at another section of it where he was talking here about an entirely different political strategy that he felt was necessary for the opposition at the time. Here he is.
The government is set upon this, and one of the points that I make in the book is that you can't save the country from opposition, and you can't permanently protect people from the consequences of the government they elected. Given the Rudd government's mandate, if you like, I think we are perfectly entitled to say, look, if this is what you want to do it. To not oppose something is not the same as to support something. I think that's an important distinction.
So a couple of things there, though. He said then that Rudd at least had a mandate, whereas Gillard does not. And Tony Abbott was leader, and he was dealing with a very different policy. But his approach then was, well, if you can't stop this stuff from opposition.
Well, I think what it shows is that...
It's Turnbull, I should have said, as leader.
Everybody has been everywhere on this issue, not just Abbott, but Rudd and Gillard and Swan. The only person who has been consistent is Malcolm Turnbull. But they've all
been...
And
Bob Brown.
And Bob Brown. Well, except that he voted down. He helped vote down the original scheme.
Yeah, that's because he wanted the scheme that he wanted, and we're heading towards now.
Yeah, so we ended up with nothing, whereas he could have voted for it and we would have had something, and that could have been built on later on. So, like I say, everybody has had every conceivable position on this, except Turnbull. So they're all a little bit compromised in where they're coming from.